Hello Juliet, my name's Kevin and this is my granddaughter Kayla.
Hi Juliet. It's my birthday on the 28th of June, 2020.
Yes, so we're hoping you can help us make a very special cake for the occasion. So, we hope that's okay for you. Alright then, hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
I've got really good news because I'd love to make you a cake for Kayla with you.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Really, oh, thank you very much. That's really good. Yeah.
I think it'll be really fun.
My wife in the background going, yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, so.
That's really good.
It's episode 5 of Baking Bootcamp, and today I'm going to be joined by Kevin. He's making a 6th birthday cake for his granddaughter Kayla, and we are going to do the Little Mermaid style, so it should be super fun. First off, we're going to bake some sponges, so I'm about to Zoom Kevin and we'll get our vanilla sponges ready, and apparently Kayla's favourite colour is orange, so we're also going to be colouring the sponges orange. So let's get started. Brilliant. Well, let's get the sponges baked. So you've got PME have sent you 2 of these, haven't they?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. What we'll do, we'll make up our mixture. This will do enough for 2 layers, and then we'll do the next one. So you've baked before, haven't you, Kevin? You've done a bit of baking. Yeah. Brilliant.
I've done
it.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is just put our sugar and butter into the machine, and I'm going to add some vanilla bean paste here. Have you got vanilla with you? Put in a good sort of like couple of teaspoons or so of your vanilla, and then we're going to start to mix up our butter and sugar. Just mix it on slow to start with. We're just looking for a nice like pale and creamy and fluffy consistency. So Kevin, Kayla's favourite colour is orange, and we're going to do her sponge all orange, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's good. When you're colouring sponges, like say if you're doing a rainbow cake or something and you've got to do loads of colours, you can put the colour in at the end with the flour and then just mix it. But because you just want to do one colour, I quite like to put the food colouring in with the butter and sugar now, because then when we put the flour in, we don't have to over mix it, so it will stay more light. So it's quite a nice strong colour. A couple of teaspoons in if you want it to be really bright.
Okay.
It's quite bright. Brilliant. So let's just mix that in, and then we'll start to add our egg.
Okay. So I'll put all the eggs in one bowl. That looks nice and fluffy though. The batter looks nice and fluffy and.
Oh, lovely, that looks good. So let's just put them in one at a time, just on slow. You just want to get a spatula and just make sure that you kind of scrape it down like this. Have you put all of your eggs in now?
Yes.
So now we're going to put our flour in, which is the last ingredient. Brilliant. So I've got my flour in here. I've got some self-raising flour and a teaspoon of baking powder on top of it. So now we're just going to put the machine in on slow and gradually mixing the flour just very gently until all the powder's disappeared. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put batter in each tin, and then all we need to do is just what we do. So just with a spoon, just like level it out, just to come to the edges and just to be like roughly flat, just so you've got a nice flat layer, just like that. So we've got both of our sponges here. Let's put these both in the oven now, and we'll put our timer on we'll put it on for 15 minutes because your oven might be strong, and then you can have a check on it. Brilliant.
Okay then.
Our cakes have been baked and they're just cooling down. So while that's happening, we're going to get started on making all of our little bits of decorations because we've got so much to make. I mean, look at this. We've got everything here. We're going to be making all sorts. I'll show you what we're going to do. Look at all of this array of tools, paints, edible pens, everything we need to create an under the sea themed cake. We've got tails, we've got tiny circles for bubbles, we've got gum paste, everything. Right, okay, so this is going to be a really fun bit. Your sponges all right?
Yes. Yep. They're all okay.
Brilliant, lovely. So I'm going to show you how to make a few little sort of like models and things. So what we're going to do is we're going to make all the sort of like some sea creatures, seaweed. You can make rocks, bits of coral, anything really. So I've done a bit of a list, things like shells, fish, seaweed, bubbles, coral. I'll show you a couple of things and then you can just have a go. So this is really handy because what I like to do is just make all of my sugar pieces, and I will often do this the day before and just leave them to dry. So they've given us all of these amazing tools and things, haven't they? Like with different.
Yes, yeah, I've got a lovely little array of those, yeah.
Yeah, so that's really all you need to kind of create some good things. You'll also see they've sent you some of this, which is like the ready to use icing. That's great. So we use that type of thing to cover cakes, and you can also make models with it, but it's softer. If you want to make things that are really 3D and will hold their shape and set hard, then we will use this stuff which they sent you, which is called gum paste. You have to work a bit more quickly with it because it dries out quickly, but that set's really solid. So for making models, it's a bit easier, it holds its shape better. Once you've had a couple of goes, you'll kind of get to learn the feel of it. So let's start with the first thing. So I'm just going to show you how to create, for example, some seaweed bits and pieces for going around. I think if you just watch me first, that's easiest because then you can concentrate, and then you can have a go. So for the seaweed, I'm going to use this gum paste because I want it to set hard. So one thing to say is when you're using sugar paste or gum paste, it does like skin over after a few minutes. So I always keep it in a little plastic food bag while it's not being used. So I don't know if you've got one of those, but I mean you can put them back in the packet, but quite often I'll just kind of get a food bag and bung it all in there. This is quite a bright green, but I don't mind that. I think because it's Kayla's cake and it's quite Disney, they are quite bright colours, aren't they? They're not. For example, if I want to make a few bits of seaweed, I can do that in 2 ways. So I've got a bit of the gum paste, because it's so tiny, I don't even really need to knead it on the surface. And you just kind of like knead it between your hands just to make it a bit pliable. They should have sent you a small rolling pin. I think it's a small silver one they've sent you.
Yes.
The small rolling pins are really handy when you're working with small things like this rather than having a big one. I'm just going to show you a couple of ways that we could make some seaweed bits that will stick up, because tomorrow we can put some like fresh rocks and things around our sea and then we can plunge these in and they'll stand up. That's my plan anyway. A really easy way to do this would just be they've given us a cutting wheel as well, which are quite helpful. I just used, see, this is what I love about doing this type of thing. I was going to use a sharp knife, but I just used the sort of like crimping wheel, and that made it kind of like a bit spiky. Literally, you can cut a few strips like this, and then what we do is just place them onto our board like that, and then by tomorrow, they're going to be rock hard. I like to make them fatter at the bottom and then taper them off thinly to the top. You can do a few of these, and it's just really a case of making lots of different shapes, and then when they're all together, they look really sea-like, sort of like for even this one that I've just done here. So that's one way of doing seaweed. Another way that you can do it is wrapping it round a straw. Cut it into a few strips. You just get a straw, and now just twisting it like that.
Just wrapping it around the straw to give it
so just letting it wrap round like that. And then I'm just going to put that to one side, and that will have held its shape. Do you want to have a go at that?
Yes, I certainly will.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Making all the individual decorations and characters is what takes the longest time when you're creating a cake like this. So just make sure you give yourself plenty of time so you can really create a stunning masterpiece.
Look, what a lot of people don't realise about cake making is that if you just have got like plenty of time to spend on something, it's great. It's only when people try and rush things that they will end up looking a bit dodgy. I'm just going to show you, I've just done one like this. So I did it a bit like we did with the green, but I've done it, just left it in a strip. So I'm going to let that set. These are nice little simple things just to have propping up as a kind of background. But what we'll also do is we'll make some more detailed things like shells and perhaps starfish we'll do. We're going to do a little seahorse. Once you've had a go at that, I think if you just wrap up your green, I'll just show you a couple more bits to do that you can be getting on with. Just experiment with some of the stuff that you've got. Right, for example, we've got these mermaid tails. These are quite cute. So yeah, I also think those seahorses might be quite nice. So for example, let's just say I wanted to do an orange seahorse. We can also then tomorrow add detail on these with the edible paints. You should have like lots of these moulds done, lots of seaweed, lots of shells, and then we'll try and make together the like little flounder fish.
Yeah, okay.
The best way to use these is just, first of all, I'm going to do a seahorse actually. I'm going to do an orange seahorse. So just dust it with a bit of icing sugar in the mould, then just tap it out. I'm just going to kind of knead my orange again. You kind of just like jam it into the mould, and I just kind of like push it in, because you don't want to have too much excess, otherwise it can look a bit fat and chunky. Push it into the mould like this. Pinch it round. So I've kind of roughly like pushed it in. I'm just making sure that there isn't like any of the icing protruding the edge of the mould, but you're just thinking about that outer edge, so you've got the shape of the creature.
Yeah, got you.
Put my fingers in and then just pull it out like that.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of got a bit of excess by its face, just get a sharp knife and cut that away. This would be nice in white actually, because we can make them all gold. You see that? So then you get your tail.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a go at one of the moulds?
Yeah, I'll have a go. So pushing it in and push it all against the edges.
I'm going to make I've got a little bit of white gum paste here, and I'm going to put a tiny bit of orange gum paste in it, because I'm just making it like a light peach colour for a shell. One easy way of doing a shell is just to kind of make a ball, pop it down on the surface. So I'm just kind of pressing it down
So it's kind of like a semicircle, just by eye into a sort of shell shape. It's on the surface. So just flatten it a bit. Now that's the shell tool. Just kind of, press like this. See, it kind of just makes very rough.
Yeah, I see.
See the sort of shell marks. Put it back into shape a bit.
I can practice with them. I'll do as many as I can and then just pick out the best ones. Okay.
Brilliant. All right. Well, good luck, Kevin. I'll send you a picture.
Lovely. See ya. See you soon.
So I've just been making all of my sugar decorations and Kevin's been doing his. We spent about an hour or so doing these and now we're going to join back up again. I'm going to show him how to make the flounder fish and also some octopus legs for the evil one. So I'm just waiting for him to join.
How have you been getting on?
I've done all right. not done fantastic amounts, but
well, I mean,
got the starfish, got the seahorses and some of the shells.
Brilliant, they look good, and I see you've done a plate.
I'll do more of them later on, yeah. So
I take it you've got the video of me making the starfish and stuff.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. That's quite easy. But what I always do is when I'm making things, I will just get a picture up of what I want to make. Otherwise, it's just not going to look right. What he is essentially is a big fat cone, got kind of like quite a big spammy forehead, a little sort of like boinky nose, and then a smile. So what we'll do is we'll make a cone, we'll flatten his face a bit, and then we'll pinch forward a nose and make a smile. And we're just going to do the yellow body today. Tomorrow we can put on the blue detail. I always have a spare one. I'd like him to sit on top of the cake next to Ariel so Kayla can kind of see him as a main character.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Good.
So I've got a piece of gum paste. So first of all, just
Make it a bit more pliable and then I'm going to roll him into a ball. The reason I thought we'd go for the gum paste is because it does like set quite hard, and also you've got the yellow already made, so that's easy. Because you see with gum paste, it's quite hard to sort of like mould all those bits away. I think I just need to knead it a bit more. I'm using a bit of pressure on the surface just to kind of roll it into a ball so I can kind of get rid of all of those lines. Yeah, that's fine. What I'm going to do is get a bit of corn flour on my hands. So I'm just going to make a bit of a kind of slight cone shape. I'm tapering it down on one side, so it's kind of like that.
Tomorrow we're going to attach like a blue fin at the back there, and he'll have a little Mohican on top. But I now want to sort of like just make a bit of shape on his face because we'll put some eyes on tomorrow. I'm going to use the ball tool. This is a bone tool. It's really handy because it can sort of like make marks, but it doesn't leave big ridges. So I'm just going to kind of like gently
flatten above where his cheek would be, where his little eye's going to be, on either side like that. See?
Yeah.
So that's kind of not looking quite right yet. So that's kind of going to be roughly where his eyes are. Now what I need to do is make sure that his nose is a bit protruding. So the way I think I'm going to do that is by cutting a mouth first.
Like that. So that's just the start of it. But then what I'm going to do is kind of like lift it open a bit. You can kind of pinch his chin down a bit. It looks a bit freaky at the moment. But when it gets its eyes and everything, it will start to come through. But it also needs a bit more of a nose. So I think for the nose, I'm just literally going to, with my fingers, just kind of pinch it out, exactly. It looks really weird now. So what I can do is just use my ball tool again, just to kind of play about with it until I'm happy. Because it is kind of quite turned up. I'm going to flatten it a bit. I think he needs to have a bit more of a forehead. So I'm just going to kind of like push that down a bit lower now. So that's kind of like roughly a shape that we'll make. And then when it gets its eyes on and we put its kind of red detail in for the smile and his little fins, he'll look a bit more, obviously begin to look more realistic. At the moment, he just looks like a skeleton of...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Do you want to have a go at doing your one?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah, so it's kind of like when we put the detail on tomorrow, but I think let's leave that for now. I'm going to put mine to one side. We've got the kind of basis of things, and I think definitely like later on, maybe tonight when it cools down, you might even want to sit down at the table and have a go. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to cover our board, and then we will bring it all together. We'll put rocks around it, we'll put our coral, we'll put some of the sand. Do you want to put a message on it, like anything like happy birthday Kayla, or I mean, you could just leave it with no message, but...
Yeah, no, we'll at least put a name on it, but probably happy birthday, Kayla.
Yeah, okay. Maybe this evening I'll try and show you how to do one after we've done the board. These are really simple. It's basically like cookie cutters. And I think we'll do the board like mainly sandy. Around the bottom of the cake, perhaps we will put like a bit more of the blue icing and piping gel so it almost looks like a shore, something like that. Yeah. We'll get that covered in just a kind of like a light yellow colour. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Can you see my board here nice and clearly, Kevin?
Yep.
So the first thing that I'm going to do, because obviously we're going to roll out the icing to a really big circle. So I'm going to prepare my board first. So you need to just basically get some icing sugar, rub it over the board, and I'm going to use a pastry brush. I've got a little bit of water in this glass. I'm dampening the board, brushing it over so all of that icing sugar is a bit sticky, because then once I put my icing on the board, it's going to stay put. You don't sort of need it with your hands, but what I do is I use the heel of my hands and I use my body weight. So once you've kind of made it warm and pliable, so put it into a ball first, slap it down just to make it into a disc. And now I'm just going to roll it away like that. Sort of make it nice and even, so there's no like rolling pin ridges in there. I'm just going to trim it off, just go down like that. Do you want to have a go of your one now?
Yep.
We just leave it now to dry out overnight. We might as well just quickly do your Kayla letters and do our buttercream and crumb coat.
Orange is her favourite colour. So.
Why don't we do orange then?
Yep.
Yeah, because they're quite tricky to get out of the small little bits. We want them to be about the thickness of like a 20p or something, long at all.
Yeah.
So you just basically use these cutters. Sometimes they just come out by themselves and then just pop it onto the board and then just leave them to one side overnight. So just let me know as soon as you can when you're ready to do it.
Okay.
Right, see you in a bit.
Right.
So Kevin and I have done all the decorating for the day. The last bit is to make our lovely fluffy buttercream and sandwich the cake together and crumb coat it. So that's what we're going to do now.
I'm just checking, do you want to make your buttercream orange or just leave it white? It might be nice to leave the buttercream white because then you'll get the contrast with the orange.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah. No, I think white.
Yeah,
Always.
okay.
And I like to put my damp tea towel over the top. You know when it kind of puffs up and goes everywhere? I usually do that. And just put it on slow until it's kind of mixed in, and then once the powder's disappeared, you can turn it up. One more packet of 500s into the mixing bowl and do it on slow. And you'll see it goes whiter and whiter the more you beat it. I'm going to put my last packet in now. So what we'll do is we'll just put the tea towel over yours and leave yours for the minute. I'm going to show you how to crumb coat. I'll just do each of them first, and then we just need to assemble it. So now I'm just going to put a bit of buttercream on the board for my first one. So first layer is going to go on, and I'll be quite generous with it. I'm just going to use a backwards and forwards motion, which kind of gets out the air bubbles and keeps it nice and flat. And I just go round and round and round. The aim of the game is just that it's all level and flat. And I just keep going round until it comes over the edge of the sponge a bit. So next one, just making sure it's central. Now, there's loads of different ways to do this. Everyone does it differently. I tend to just smooth it now at this stage. And I just kind of have my palette knife on the side, using this board, sealing in all those kind of gaps where it needs to go. I just get buttercream and pan off and just put it where I need it now. And I just kind of apply it like that. So I just kind of keep loading up and going all the way round. So I'll just show you, it's like really, really thin on the top. I'm going to use my side scraper and I'm making sure it's pretty vertical. And then I go like this, all the way round until that scraper meets back where my thumb was. So I will put it in the fridge. Do you want to do your one now and I'll watch you?
Yeah.
That's perfect. And that just really sort of finishes it off and makes it as straight as you can get it. If it's okay with you then, Kevin, get that in the fridge, and then I would say a bit of homework for you, just like make loads of like as much like sea creaturey stuff as you can. And then tomorrow we'll come back and we'll thinly ice this, probably make some of the fins and bits for, we'll probably get the mermaid start to get dressed. Brilliant.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juliet.
Cheers.
Thanks for...
So it's day 2 of baking bootcamp, and today is going to be the fun day because we're going to put the whole thing together and make it look really magical, under the sea themed little mermaid cake for Kayla. So we're going to get started now. I'm going to zoom Kevin and show him how to cover the cake.
Did you manage to make any more bits?
Yeah, I've done a few more bits. I've done some more octopus legs and a few bits and pieces. I went on, but you know that tutorial that you sent me.
Yeah, that's brilliant. brilliant.
That looks all right, didn't it? I thought that was quite nice, that one.
I'm jealous of that. I wish I had some of those now. So the first thing we need to do is make it sticky. So you can do that in lots of different ways. Some people like to use apricot jam, just warm it up and brush it over because that's quite a neutral taste. I've got some agave syrup here, but if you're going to use honey, you can just put some hot water in till it kind of gets a bit looser. I'm not letting it be really, really sticky. I'm just doing a very thin coating. I'm just rolling it the same way we did yesterday. Come down eye level and then just
lift it up, make sure it's central. I've got just enough on this side to cover it, so I'm just going to go over now, like that. I've made it way too small. And like we say, because we know that we're going to be covering it with loads of waves, it doesn't matter. Right, okay. It's quite good doing this actually, because all the other boot camps have been buttercream related, so it's nice that they're showing a bit of different skills. So yeah, polish the top, get it nice and flat. Then you just kind of would go around the edges with your palms just to make sure it's nice. And then we'd work on the sides. So generally you'll have a pair, have one on there. And where I kind of didn't quite roll it big enough, I've got all of this around here where it's not stretched down. You can just get your excess
and do this. That's probably what I would do in this sense actually, because I could stretch it, but now I've done that, it doesn't matter that we will see some hairline cracks and join because we're covering it up.
I've just patched in here where I had a bit of a gap because I didn't roll it out quite big enough, but that's fine because for what we're doing, we're going to cover it. So now where I've put that on, I can just take my smoother and just do this, and as I work on it, you see how the gaps start to kind of disappear, merge it. So now I can just use my smoother like that. And now that's kind of pretty much covered the buttercream and trim off the excess now. And now I'm just going to use my palette knife just to sort of find underneath that board again. I won't get it completely to the back because it'll be really off centre then, but just kind of about like that. I think that will be nice. So that's done now. We can just set that to one side and then we can continue doing our other bits. We'll leave that just to skin over for an hour or so, and then that will be ready for us to start putting our waves onto it.
So it's your turn now.
Okay. Oop, in the middle.
Expertly done.
Ooh.
Brilliant. Okay. We've got to finish that little flounder fish, haven't we?
Yes.
Does yours look funny?
One doesn't look too bad, and the other one looks like his granddad. Or something, you know?
Oh yeah, but that one looks. Oh yeah, the one in this one here on your left hand, is that the better one?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that
This
will look
one,
good
yeah.
when we get its eyes on and all its blue and everything. I think it will,
Yeah.
as long as Kayla recognises it and knows what it is. That's the.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I reckon then we'll probably meet up in about maybe half an hour or something.
In about half hour.
Great, they sent us all those colourful icings, isn't it? Because I hadn't opened any boxes, so we can really go for it and put those things on. We'll do our fish first.
So I'm just going to use a little bit of gum paste for this, just the white gum paste. I'm just going to get a bit of edible glue. You know, they sent us all of these little round plunger cutters. I'm just rolling out a tiny bit here, and then I'm just going to use my plunger cutter and just rub it on the surface like that, and then you just eject it. I think that's about the right size for mine. Do you want to do the same thing?
You can kind of like pinch them inwards a bit. So I pinched it just to kind of like make them look a bit more oval rather than just two round balls.
Your one's eyes again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think mine are too close together. So, did you stick them on with a bit of edible glue?
Yeah, I just put a bit of edible glue now. Now I've decided, and just like this, and just put a bit of edible glue in the cavity of the, where we made the mark.
There's my flounder eyes that I've put on there.
You can probably...
Too close together?
A little bit close together, but I mean, this tool's very handy. What we'll do now is we'll focus on getting the waves on our cake.
Yes.
Then we can build and build. But we'll take
Yeah.
some white sugar paste. And into that, I think we'll need a packet of white gum paste. Then we'll start to colour it.
We'll make it a tiny bit kind of sea greeny blue.
Really strong, yeah. They're really, really strong. So I would say a dab like that of blue.
Okay.
Same of green. Tiny dot like that. We'll just finish kneading the whole piece just to kind of get it mostly mixed in. You see my dog over there?
Ah, What's the dog's name?
It's called Dougie or Pig.
Dougie.
Yeah.
Ah. He looks like Ben, a dog that we had. My wife brought home from work years ago. Little Benny boy.
Oh, yeah, he's cute. He's 11 now. So I'm just going to put that in the bag because we'll need more colouring just to kind of go darker, so like we're going down in the deep blue sea. I'm going to be wanting to roll out strips of icing, and I'm just going to cut them in a rough way.
And then I'm going to use some edible glue and start to begin to stick them to the cake. If we work from the top, then we can cover over each of the seams that we've put on. I'm not going to go too crazy and use too much at once. I'm just taking about this much at a time. I'm going to get my guide stick and I'm just going to roll it into a sausage first. I'm just going to roll it, cut that in half, and I'm just going to now thin this one out a bit more. So that's kind of quite a good length. That'll probably cover half of the cake. I might put it on like that, and then the joins will be round the side and it won't matter. Now I've got my strips, that's ready to go on. I've just got the cutting wheel with the straight edge just along the top. I'm just going to create a slight wave. So I've just kind of cut it roughly. So it's a slight wave.
Yeah, that's it. Nice.
And then this is the best way to get it onto the cake. A bit of icing sugar over the top of it. For example, I could just try and lift it on like this and then do that. I think that's okay, but I'm going to show you another way in case you find it is a bit sort of slippery. And as you can see, I've allowed it to go slightly higher than the edge of the cake. You see that? With my fingers, just press that down against the cake onto that edible glue. Now the nice wavy bits, we can just with our fingers move it in a bit of directions.
That's it, lovely.
Just make sure there's plenty of edible glue underneath because I'm going to stick a second band on. See, once we get started, it shouldn't take us too long to get these on. And continue round. Yep, so that's all stuck down. As you can see, it's partly kind of like falling down already. So now I'm just going to just add some movement to it. So I'll just push it in like that.
It is quite hard to put bands around a cake. So are you going to go on to your darker one soon? Or?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, yeah.
Yeah, that looks good though, looks good. So let's have a think about the top. So obviously at the moment, our top is white.
I think it would be quite nice just to do a watercolour effect on the top with a bit of blue paste colour in water with a paintbrush, and then potentially we could just add a little bit of like shimmery dust to it after. So have you actually, it's better to paint with gin or vodka. Have you got, you can do water. Have you got any gin or vodka?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's get the drinks in then. It's Friday afternoon. I'm going to get a bit of vodka and I'll show you I'll do it on mine first so then you can decide if you like it or not. So I've just got a small bowl here. I've got like a couple of teaspoons of vodka in there.
Has that all been used on cakes, that bottle of vodka?
Oh yeah, I haven't been drinking it, I promise.
So then we can make a paint up by using our blue and green paste colours. Literally just the smallest bit.
Tiny bit of blue into it, so it's kind of, can you see?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think what I'll do, I'll just get my brush and just roughly just do some sort of like swirly marks. This is just very rough because we're going to put some other things on top of the cake. Could even just leave it light blue if we wanted, but I'm just going to see what it looks like with a bit of green as well. So I've just painted the top of my cake with some vodka and paste colours. PME have sent us these edible decorations and they are kind of like edible glitter. So I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top. So that's going to catch the light and make it start to look more magical and princessy.
Yeah, I like it with that white glitter on. How's that going there, Kevin?
Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, I think that looks good.
Yeah, it just gives it a shimmer, doesn't it? Oh, actually, before we stick the Ariel in the cake, let's do her bikini because otherwise it's going to be more fiddly to do if she's vertical. It looks good. It looks really sea-like, doesn't it? Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that.
Yeah. So this is what I'm using. So we just need to make a colour, a purple for her bikini top. And we don't need a lot. I've literally just got like a walnut sized piece. So I've just made my purple because we're now going to put the bikini on for the mermaid. I'm going to show you how to put the bikini on.
Sorry.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some edible glue on her privates.
Yeah.
And then
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it to about the thickness of slightly thinner than a pound coin. I think the best way for us to do it is just cut 2 circles that I'm going to turn into a teardrop shapes and put one either side. So I'll show you how I'm going to do it.
I've put the edible glue on and I've got the icing here. So a bit of icing sugar because I'm going to thin them out. I've done two circles. You see this one?
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that as well because she's basically got 2 shells on as a bikini. I'm now going to stretch each one out a bit to elongate it. So now it's more like an oval. So if you see it now, it's looking more like a little bikini top. And I'm just going to get my shell tool. So I'm going to put the wider part going out towards her back. So there's one little shell. And now I'm just going to stick them on. Just bring her near to me and just pop one on there. That's one. Once it's on there like that, you see, we can sort of stretch it and move it and have it to fit. Gently encourage them together until they kind of look like they're joints. There you go.
Yeah, great.
I'm just going to get my wheel cutter to make a very thin strip.
I just stuck that round the side there like that with using a bit of edible glue. So I've just covered my mermaid, which has got her shell bikini. And now we can make the tail.
I think we should probably do her quite a light green. In some of the cartoon pictures, she looks darker.
Yeah, she's quite green-tailed, isn't she?
A sort of like darker green tail with a lighter green fin, isn't it? First of all, let's think about the green colour. See how they've sent us this lime green and this dark green? Yeah, so let's open the packet of each and just knead them together and see what we think. Because we definitely want it to be like looking more green than the actual cake. Mine's kneaded to about like this green now. It's quite a chunky sausage, it's like this. I'm just looking at it thinking like, how long should it be?
Obviously I'm choosing where I'm going to put her. I'm going to have her just off centre to the front of the cake. And now I'm going to just kind of like taper it. So what I'm going to do is just start to kind of like roughly see if I think this is about right. So, I mean, I think that looks pretty good.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
We'll add a bit around the edge where she's sitting.
Later, so it looks like it's joined onto the body. Just move it how I like it. So I think I'm kind of happy with that. And now I'm going to show you how to do the fin detail. It's like this. It comes with a flat bit like that, and then on the other end, it's got a semicircle. If you don't have one of these tools, you can use a straw, and with a pair of scissors, just snip it at the end. Paper straw here, so you can just create it with a straw. All we're going to do now is put the scales details on by making impressions into the icing, just in repeating rows. And I've now got to the fun bit, which is doing the decorating. So I've just put a piece of sugar paste on to represent the tail, and now just using my smiley tool, I can make indentations just to create the scale effect.
And now, it's really coming to life now, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks great, that. I'm really pleased with that.
Yeah, it looks brilliant. That's not so quick. Oh yeah, it looks really good.
So I'm going to get my little rolling pin. So that's about the size we need.
I'm quite pleased with that, the way that's come out.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
So now we need to put the 2 fins on the bottom.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to cut it in one circle. Cut this circle in half. So now what I'm going to do is just by hand, just pinch each one into a teardrop.
Like that. So I'm going to push them onto using quite a firm pressure, and I'm pushing it onto the waves, but not kind of cracking them.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah, brilliant. So we better do our flounder fish now. I'm going to put glue inside the mouth. I might even just roll a very small sausage like this, put it inside its mouth, yeah, so now it's like that, and then I'm just going to use my blade tool.
Yeah, got you.
So now I'm just doing the flounder, so I've got the smiling and the 2 eyes and the little irises, and now I'm going to do the blue stripes.
I'm going to put edible glue onto the fish where I want the stripes sit.
Right, I've got my 4 stripes on the top.
I've just made a bit of turquoise gum paste. I'm going to stick a Mohican bit on the top, one on each side and something at the back.
Oh, that looks great.
Oh, thank you. What I'm going to do is just put him like on there, like looking at her. And you can finish your flounder fish later. And now we can just start to like put Kayla's message on and stick all of our bits and pieces on. I don't want you to rush it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great. So as you can see, I've just like basically chuck them on first of all, and that's why I've got
That's why we made them yesterday. And I'm going to put mine very near to the edge of the board. So that's where I think I'm going to put mine. Just get your edible glue. And then what I do is I just put like a couple of splodges on the back of the letter and then pop it back on the board. This should start to come together quite quickly now. This is the bit like when we're going to kind of bring it together. What we're going to do, we're going to actually use fresh sugar paste in different pieces, and then we can plunge them in. Let's do one big rock next to the mermaid here. I'm just going to knead this together until it's a bit marbled. And I'm just going to place it on there like that. Put little sort of like holes in it. It's just some sort of details really. And then in a bit we'll fill it with piping gel, make it look like there's a crab in it or something. Get the end of a paintbrush, make a hole in this stone. Can you see the hole I've made there? And then push it in like that. So I'm just going to put like one of those in there as well. So this is where you get to be creative now, Kevin, basically. You do it however you want it.
It's good, this paint, isn't it?
Brilliant. Right, this is the really fun bit. We've done all the hard work. For this part, Kevin and I let our imaginations take over. You can really be creative and do anything you like. There are no rules. So I'm working with Kevin now and we're just bringing the cake to life. So we're starting to put all of our decorations around the side.
Got a few bits on.
Oh yeah, it looks really good.
The piping gel. So see, I'm just going to get this pastry brush.
Add piping gel like this so it looks wet. That rock pool bit, you can fill it up with water like that.
And piping gel here, just to make it all glistening.
I'm going to try and use a bit of this luster dust first over the tail before I make it wet. I'm just going to use the tip of my finger actually and just, wow. Got some of this topaz on my finger.
Oh, right, great. Right, so.
Oh, it looks cute, doesn't it?
Looks all right, doesn't it? I'll put a little bit of black in his eyes as well.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it.
Kevin and I have just pretty much come to a finish, and I've just finished my little flounder fish, so that's going to go onto the cake now. So there he is. Hello. Yeah, pleased with that. Kevin and I have just finished our cakes now, so yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Well done, Kevin. You've done an amazing job on yours.
Well, I wouldn't have done it without you, Juliet. Thank you very much. It's, you know, just so much detail in it. It's been really good fun.
Oh, wow. That is brilliant. Oh, I love the seahorse. Well, have a fantastic day with Kayla. I can't wait to see her face when she sees it.
It's going to be over the moon, or as I said, under the sea. Thanks to KitchenAid and to PME for the mixer and all the stuff.
Well, now you're going to be getting asked for cake orders every week by the look of this.
I know, yeah.
Okay.
No, genuinely, I really appreciate all your time, Juliet.
Oh, thank you.
Mate, really helped us out, yeah.
Take care. Have a lovely weekend.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Wow.
That is amazing. What did he say?
Thank you, Dad.
How cool is that?
Really cool. Even my favourite cover. Yeah, Dad.
Here we go.